Imagine you pick up a legal thriller, you're getting into it, and then it tells you that its most shocking parts are actually true. Well, that's the unsettling idea we're diving into today from the book Judge for a Week by Samuel Marquez. It uses a fictional story to ask some incredibly real questions about justice.
So, the whole thing really kicks off with this incredibly bold claim made by the author himself. And honestly, it challenges everything you think you know about the story you're about to get into. And there it is. Right in the author's note at the end of the book, he just lays it out there. This one sentence completely changes the game, right? We're being told that this isn't just a story, it's a reality that's been wrapped up in fiction, and it forces you to ask where the line between them even is. And just to drive home how serious this is, Marquez adds that he worked on this whole project alone for this exact reason. Putting that note right up front, it kind of tells you that the subject matter isn't just some academic thought experiment. It carries some very real-world risks. Okay, so let's meet our protagonist. He is about as far from the world of international law as you can possibly get. And you know what? That is exactly the point of this whole experiment. Just picture this contrast for a second. On one hand, you have Anson Simpson. He's a deeply religious, tech-avoiding farmer from Washington state. And on the other hand, you have the UN headquarters in New York, where he's been dropped into this inverted trial simulation, surrounded by the sharpest legal minds on the planet. It's the ultimate fish-out-of-water story. So you might be wondering, why him? Well, the program's whole idea is built on that question. Anson, this completely ordinary guy, is the test case. The experiment is designed to see if just good old-fashioned common sense and a moral compass can slice through all the complicated legal talk to find what's right. Now, what was supposed to be this quiet, closed-door academic thing is about to get a massive dose of the 21st century. It just takes one single social media post to turn this entire simulation on its head. And it escalates so fast. It's wild. A student makes this clever little post, a play on Musk's X platform. He reposts it, and boom. Suddenly, the simulation isn't just a simulation anymore. It's a global media firestorm. It just goes to show you how powerful social media is at blurring the lines between a mock exercise and real-world judgment. So now that the whole world is tuned in, the trial's main conflict really snaps into focus. And don't forget, according to the author, this is the part of the story that he claims is 100% factual. The case itself is this huge clash of ideas. On one side, the plaintiff is making some serious accusations against a Brazilian Supreme Court judge, Alexandre de Moraes, talking about censorship and violating due process. But the defense comes back hard, arguing that you have to understand Brazil's young, complex democracy, its own legal system, and this principle of res judicata, basically saying, hey, our courts have already dealt with this. And this right here is the bombshell claim at the heart of the plaintiff's case. They reveal that Judge de Moraes was also the head of Brazil's Superior Electoral Court. What does that mean? Well, it means he was effectively reviewing appeals of his own Supreme Court decisions. You can see how the plaintiff argues this setup fundamentally calls the whole idea of impartiality into question. So while all these intense legal arguments are going back and forth, the pressure on Anson is just becoming enormous. This isn't just about the law anymore. It's become a deep, personal test of his character, his integrity, maybe even his sanity. He finally reaches his breaking point. He's worried about his family, his farm, everything. He dramatically stands up, calls the whole trial a sham, and holds up this folder that his mentor, Oliver Schregel, gave him. He says it's full of secret signals that have been guiding his decisions, and that's his proof that it's all fake. So what was really inside? Nothing. The folder was completely empty. In fact, it had been filled with blank sheets of paper since the second day. All this time, Anson had been making his own judgments, growing into the role based on his own gut, and he didn't even realize it. And that's when you realize the twist wasn't just a plot device. It was the entire lesson. Schregel explains the whole thing was a free sample of judicial pressure. It was designed to show Anson and us the incredible personal cost of being truly impartial, and the psychological weight you carry when you have to make these big calls without a safety net. But the trial wasn't out of the woods yet. It hit one more huge roadblock, and fixing it required a really creative solution, one that mixed ancient ideas with modern tech to overcome fear. So here's the problem. A huge part of the trial needed expert opinions from legal professionals in Brazil. But, the book says, they were unwilling to speak up, reportedly because they were afraid of facing consequences for it. That reluctance alone tells you a lot about the political climate being described here. So, what do you do when the experts are afraid to talk? You get creative. The team built a survey based on this ancient Greek idea of the ecclesia, which was like a popular assembly. They used it to crowdsource opinions from hundreds of Brazilian legal experts, basically gathering their collective wisdom anonymously to help inform the final judgment. It's a pretty brilliant solution to a very modern problem.
And really, that's where the book leaves us, with this big, lingering question. It weaves this fictional story together with this bold claim that the core of it is all fact. And it makes you wonder, when a powerful story does that, what's our responsibility? How do we critically look at it, especially when the author ends by asking us to pray for an entire nation? What do we, as readers and citizens, do with that?